Master wigmaker and hairstylist Frederic Aspiras has earned his reputation as one of the leading artists in the beauty industry. 5 years after his move to Los Angeles, Frederic was introduced to Lady Gaga and instantly became Gaga's go-to for all things hair. Frederic has worked exclusively with Gaga since '09, creating some of today's most memorable hair looks. Frederick's work has been featured in several major publications such as Harper's Bazaar, Elle, Allure, Vogue, Billboard, and Parade. We are thrilled to have him on the Volume Up podcast. Welcome, Frederic. How are you today?
Hey, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really great. I'm still excited I'm still kind of not in disbelief that I'm an Oscar-nominated artist, but here I am talking to you. So,
well, we are going to get into the Oscars in a minute. Don't you worry, because it is a huge deal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But before we get there, let's just talk a little bit about your start in the industry. How did you get into beauty?
So I got into it. Really, I kind of grew up around it. My mother was a hairdresser and had a hair salon. My sister was child model. I was just surrounded by this business, and growing up in San Francisco, it was very open to art and to culture and to the life and the streets and underculture. So I grew up, wanting to be part of that escapism. I also became, I dabbled into acting. I just loved creative arts and everything that had to do with all that. So I got into the industry, working into my mom's salon when I was 13 years old, and working, doing wet sets on the ladies, and talking to them and just chilling out in the salon. And just my mom was like, you kind of do this, you do this really well. I'm like, how do you know all this? I'm like, I don't know. I just played. I started doing her hair, and she's like, how did you know how to cut hair? I was like, I just watched. And before you know it, I was doing her makeup, and I was doing my sisters, and I was doing my girlfriends, and I was like, okay, I guess I know how to do this. But at the same time, I was like, I was closeted gay, and I was like, I didn't want people to know I was gay. And this is the early 90s, and it wasn't like, you can go on social media and be like, oh, there are people like me that can like support me, and like they like what I look like what I do, and like no one was there to do that. There was no like group people that did that. So you just literally were like, okay, well, I know how to do it. I'm very ashamed to do this. But that didn't stop me. I thought, hey, I love I love doing this. This is what I'm going to keep doing it. I went to college and for acting, and I thought that was going to be my journey. But sometimes in life, you just have to try everything out. Sure. I did, and that's what I did. I was an actor. I was a makeup artist. I did hair. I did all of that, and I was like, I like one of these. So it literally is. The thing is that there is no one path to getting where you need to go to.
Yep.
You have to try out everything. When I set out to go into this business, I told myself I need to know how the fashion people work. So I studied fashion, how the makeup was going to do. So I studied how to do makeup. How the photographers, I studied lighting and photography. You have to know everything about it, because there was no YouTube and there was none of that. I didn't. There was nothing. So I was like, okay, I have to learn everything. So I did, and building all my references and storing it, watching movies, and got me into this industry. Literally got me into this industry just by the things I knew, and that's what set me apart from everyone else in this industry. Is that I just walked into this industry with all that knowledge, all of everything I had to do. But then I fell on my face, and like I moved to Los Angeles from San Francisco after giving up a job as a I was in retail doing makeup, and I went all the way to the top because I thought that was the route to go to become a makeup artist. Mind you, there is no famous makeup artists at the time, but Kevin Aquan. There was no celebrity hairdressers, no celebrity makeup artists. So you had to like, I'm like, what? My mom was like, what is a celebrity hair? What are you talking about? You can't do that. You're going to go and become you're going to go to school and take over my business, be a hairdresser in a salon. I was like, Mom, I don't want to work in a salon, and I don't want to do this because this is not what I want to do. I wanted to change my path. Like we grew up really, really poor, like really poor. So my mom's business was her baby. And she wanted me to take over because as a refugee of Vietnam, this was her business. She thought that this is the way to go in this country. You have to have business and security. Yeah. And I said, no, I that's your dream, your passion, Mom. I want to do something that's going to do. She said, well, okay, well, then I'm not going to help you pay for anything. And you're going to do it on your own because I have money. I was like, well, I guess I have to then. So I got a job doing retail. And then that job led me to retail doing makeup. And I went from makeup counter to makeup counter all the way to the top as a global trainer for NARS. And right when I got that job, I declined the offer. And I was like, oh, this is a fork in the road, right? And at that time, I was doing free photo shoots. Everything was free. You're lucky if you got a paid photo job, and I was like, I'm going to move to LA and become something else. I wanted to do fashion and film, either New York or LA. So I ended up moving to LA because I had a friend in LA that did film, and that's how I moved to LA with $2,000, which doesn't sound like, it sounds like a lot, but really wasn't when you have to pay rent in Los Angeles.
That goes fast.
Ooh, it was so crazy, and I thought I made it. I was like, I'm in LA, I'm a star. I'm gonna be. Nope. That reality went like, I was broke. I had no money. I quit this 6-figure paying job as a retail, whatever, global trainer for NARS, and I was still doing hair, makeup. At that time, there was a lot of hair and makeup people in the industry. So it was really rare to someone who could do hair and makeup really well. And then I ended up living couch to couch, couches to couches, trying to, find a job, doing stuff. And I went from that to a hotel for $90 a week in downtown LA because I was so ashamed that I failed. And that's what happens in life, right? Failure. And without that, I learned to push harder. And it was really difficult. I tell you, I gave up. I was crying every day and looking outside of that window of that hotel in downtown LA and wishing that one day I could live in those expensive lofts. And I was like, oh man, it's not gonna happen. But you know what? I love what I do. I'm still doing makeup, I'm still doing hair. And one day, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And reality set in. I was like, okay, well, I'm never going to be successful. But I love doing makeup and I love doing hair, and I'm always going to do it. And that's all it's going to matter. So $20 in my pocket. I was like working behind the counter because I had to get a job again. I was like, shit. I had to pull my tail under my legs and between my legs and be like, I need a job, guys. And so thank God, NARS like, okay, we have some freelance work 2 days a week that could pay some rent, live in a studio with a friend on a futon mattress for years. I mean, from being almost homeless to that. And then literally that 2 years of that. And then literally over one day, I got a call from Kent Belden, who's now my agent, still my agent, after 20 years. And he knew of my work, saw some of my work. He said, hey, you know how to do wigs and hair, right? I was like, yeah, extensions. And that time, Paris Hilton was coming back. And she was starting her new brand and rebranding herself, and said, hey, she needs somebody to work on extensions because extensions wasn't a lot. People weren't doing a lot of good extensions back then. And I said, okay, sure. So I walked in, and she was the most delightful, sweetest person I've ever met. She was the most generous. I still talk to her because she changed the trajectory of my career, my life,
Mm.
and became really close. So we ended up working 3.5 years together, did all her franchises, like the BFF franchise, all around the world. I was traveling every single day. I went from $20 to like having all this money in my pocket.
Mm.
Finally, in over like 4 days, I was like, I went from doing free photo shoots, doing all that, getting told that I'll never work in this industry ever again
Mm.
by a close friend of mine, and taking my book away. Yeah, it was bad. I was like, but I never gave up on my talent. That's the problem. You can have all that happen to you. One thing you can't take away is my talent. It's like integrity. And that's what happened. I just left with zero, went to work with her. And what kept me working with her is that her willingness to believe in me as an artist and trust me, I think led me back to why I wanted to do this. Is that when I used to sit in my mom's hair salon and watch her work on clients, is that they trust her and they really built this beautiful relationship with her. And she taught me the lesson of really having compassion for the people that you touch or work with and understanding them, because what we do is just not make people pretty. What we do is help them through a lot of things in their lives, and we're part of your hair and your face has a lot of energy, it's a lot of emotions that's connected to that. And I remember talking to Paris one day, and she was just going through something really hard and difficult, and we just had, one way we could turn things around is just have fun with our day, and just like make her look cool and fabulous. And she would walk out there looking confident. And I was just like, this is so fun. This is what I love to do. This is what I love doing. And it just translated. And then 3.5 years of that, we took a break, and I got a call again from Kent, and then just laying on my bed, like I'm exhausted coming back from Japan. And I'm like, oh my God, what do you want, Kent? And he's like, hey, I know you're taking a break, right? But if you don't want to do Paris, because you know how hard we were working every single day. I mean, Paris was a hard worker. She worked everything. But he's like, hey, there's this a new artist by the name of Lady Gaga. She wants somebody to go do her theater tour called the Fame Monster Tour, theater tour. It was really small, 2-month stint, and you're done. You can go back to Paris, traveling all over. I said, sure, okay, this is fun. I'm a musician, but she just wants, I think, just wants hair. And I'm like, but I do hair and makeup. He's like, well, maybe you'll do makeup. But now, looking back at it, if all the hair that we created with Gaga, it's thank God I've just do hair with her, because it's so much. And when I first met her, she was just the most sweetest, like completely different from her persona, but I think the most sweetest young girl that was like, oh my gosh, she's so cute. And then, fast forward 2022, here we are, 13, 14 years later, and we have not stopped again. And
thank God you haven't. Like thousands of looks, like mind-blowing stuff that has totally revolutionized the beauty space, to be clear. Like, we cannot understate the importance of your collaboration. It is so epic. You are more than welcome. I speak for all of us in our community, I think, when I say that. I mean, my God, talk to us about the inspo. How does this come together, Frederic? Like, the stuff that you two have done together is mind-blowing. Extensions, wigs, color, like, just wherever you want to start, let's talk about it. My God.
Well, I think the thing is that I am one to I've always been out of the box with what I wear, what I look like. Ever since I was a little kid, I was really odd. I was gay. I didn't tell anybody, but I dressed up like I was 25 and was like listening to jazz. You ever seen Clueless and Christian? That was me in high school.
I feel like they're like, Christian, but sure.
Oh no, man! It was like I had the hair. I was pretending to be like cool, and so I was always conceptualizing my looks, right? Working with her, it's always a story we are telling. She is one of the most gifted storytellers of our time. Mm-hmm. through her songwriting, through her performances, through her humanitarian work. She tells a story, and she tells other people's story through her eyes and through her heart. And we became more than just work, partners. We became family because we shared our feelings of our pain, of our struggles. And with that, it led us to where we are today. When you're with somebody with that long and every single day, you have to be able to connect in a certain degree where it's just more about just the facade of fashion. It just has to be something that is meaningful. When we come up with looks like carpet looks, like, a corset braid, it's something that it has to do with trust. In the beginning, it was like, I don't know what you're doing, but what led me up to being able to have somebody like her trust an artist that doesn't look straight. It's like, doesn't follow the norm and just is like really on your own lane, is that when I was, like I told you, I was really young, all I did was just fill my brain with culture, with my friends I had growing up, with books, magazines. I used to sit on the floor in Virgin Record Store, remember Virgin Record Store, and read all the magazines and all UK Vogue, like everything you could think of, Visionaire, all of that. I used to soak it all up because I couldn't afford to buy magazines. And I was like, okay. So here I am with her, and she's like, okay, I'm going to come up with a new hairstyle. I want something different for my tour. And I was like, oh, I love a challenge. So I just literally, she's like, here's an assignment. Now come up with something. And then, what my brain is thinking, what I'm doing. This is my story. She doesn't say that it's not like, I want this, which sometimes we do that, but like, she allows you to breathe in your craft and allows you to take risks on your own. And then when you present it to her, it becomes hers. And it becomes something that, because it's a story that she can is tangible, because I create the hair and I put it on her and it becomes part of her story. And she knows that I thought about the whole narrative of what she was going to do. And that's like how we come up with things. I mean, one of the things, how we do it. And most of the time she just like, I need this. But not mean, but that she's not mean at all. She's actually the most sweetest person ever. But yeah, that's how we do that.
Talk to us about some of your favorite looks, because I mean, again, it is thousands. There are so many incredible.
What is your favorite?
I mean, like, what is my God,
I have so many.
I need to hear about it from you. It doesn't matter what I have to say.
Okay, yeah.
You've got the craftsmanship, the skill. Like, I just want to hear, like, what is it that you've loved that you think is like, if there's like 5 looks, these are the ones.
Well, the first thing we did was the yellow wig, because it was just taking pop art and putting it in a blender, mixing it up, shaking it, dissecting it, slapping it around, making it otherworldly, however you're thinking, and then it became a wig. And we coined it with a dirty root, because it represented, again, when I was listening to, when you don't just, when I create something, I listen to the artist. I'll listen to what she's going to talk about, and she doesn't say, this is what we're going to do. No, it's listening to the story. I listened to her story and talks about when she was, back in the day, first coming out, she was just starting up in New York City. She had, blonde, she had to dye her hair, bleach her hair blonde, and it turned yellow. And that was the end of her Stephanie days. Now became Lady Gaga, and how sad that was for her. When we did the tour, I thought it would be a great idea to do a bad yellow blonde wig, but make it Liechtenstein, make it pop art. That's where my mind thinks. You see, I connect pop culture world with underground world, with her story, and connecting those dots together. I created I created the piss yellow wig.
I was going to say, let's just call it what it is. The piss yellow is so iconic. It's so good. I'm glad you brought it up because it's one of my favorites.
Well, she first was like, I hid it from her because I was like, oh God, I doubt myself all the time. Which is artists do all the time, but I hid it from her. I put it in like a little bag. I was like, let me hide this from her. And then I was like, she's like, what's that? I was like, it's something I was working on. I literally I used to like, I still do. I still make, when you see a wig, I literally make 10 of them, right? I test out all these things. I don't like this. I don't like it. Really, you should see my office. It's just a workshop of like ideas.